Hi, in this video we're going to build a multi-agent intelligent business loan processing application using watsonx Orchestrate. Here is the architecture of our agentic system. At the top we have a loan processing orchestrator, and under it there are 5 specialist agents. Each of them has its own responsibilities and their own tools. First agent we have here is the document verification agent. It will make sure all the paperwork is there, valid, and nothing important is missing. And second agent is credit analysis agent. This agent will look at the applicant's credit profile and answer the question, can they realistically afford the loan? And the third agent is for fraud detection. It will do the identity check and make sure nothing weird or suspicious is going on. Then we have the business viability agent. This agent will step back and look at the applicant's business proposal and answer the question, is this business actually healthy, or does this plan actually make sense, things like that. And finally we have the compliance agent, which is to make sure we are playing by the rules. So this design is really to make reasoning modular. Each agent produce structured findings and send back to the orchestrator. And the orchestrator will pull everything together and present the final decisions along with final assessment report. You may have built an agentic system like this before, but what's interesting here is that this time we will build it on watsonx Orchestrate, which is IBM's agent platform. We will be using Bob, which is IBM's new coding agent. Let's get to work. We will start with this specification document, which was co-created with Bob after I described what I want to build. It provides Bob with explicit guidance on how to construct the agents and tools using Orchestrate, including code examples and best practices. From here, I just need to simply ask Bob to build this agent system from the specification, and I also tell Bob that the project should be created in this dedicated folder or path. And what happens now is Bob will create a to-do list that breaks down exactly how it will build this agentic system. And at this point, we simply review and approve the steps Bob is about to execute, or we can even enable auto approvals to let it run almost autonomously. But as you can see here, Bob started with creating all the Python scripts for the agent. That's a lot of Python code if we have to write this manually. And now Bob is creating the agent YAML files. If you look at this YAML files where the agents are being defined, it's truly impressive to see that everything is beautifully formatted, and I'm so impressed by the level of details Bob included in the instructions. This kind of detail that will normally require expert level knowledge about Orchestrate, about how to work with large language models in general. So it's amazing that Bob is now doing all this heavy lifting for us. Eventually, Bob will create this README file, which is a document that details everything that has been implemented to this point. Let's move to the next step, which is to follow the deployment instructions in the README file and deploy this agent to a remote instance of watsonx Orchestrate. Typically, we have to create an environment file with our instant URL of watsonx Orchestrate along with API keys. Then we run all these commands manually to import skills and then agent definitions. But with Bob, all I need to do is to have my environment file ready, and Bob will run all these commands on behalf of me. From time to time, we might encounter some issues, but Bob will be able to look at those errors and resolve them on its own. All right, the agent has been deployed to our watsonx Orchestrate instance. Bob is very sweet and it already prepared some sample questions that we can use to give this agent a test. Now you're looking at the UI of watsonx Orchestrate. For our very first test, I will ask, process this application by this ID. And the orchestrator agent will start by calling the document verification agent, which then will use all its tools to run document checks. It then will invoke the remaining agents in sequence, and those agents then will use their tools to perform the tasks that they're responsible for. That's why you see so many steps here. And eventually, once all agents have completed their tasks, the orchestrator will make the final decision and present to the user. All right, to wrap up, we started with a high-level specification and we used Bob to turn it into a working multi-agent system in watsonx Orchestrate in minutes. I will say this is easily the fastest watsonx Orchestrate agent I have ever built, all with Bob's help. And it's a solid starting point that we can iterate on and eventually put into production. That's it for this video. If you find it helpful, please like, subscribe. See you in next video.